We will speak little bit on Thomas Massie's elections. I made a mistake. These people, Mohicans were from New York, not from this state. Second thing, I expected Thomas Massie to win by about 3,000. I was wrong on that. Now, what you have to understand that you can't defeat the Israel lobby. It's very difficult to take on the Israel lobby. But I think this is negative because it exposes how much Israel is involved in the American political scene. Okay? And so in a way, I think once you lose a primary, Thomas Massie cannot contest, but he can be the next president, or he can contest he can be the presidential candidate as the independent. So, but there is something wrong with the American election. You can't have this mail-in ballots or absentee ballots or whatever. If you want to have fair elections, you have to have ID. Without ID, you don't. Now, if you take Bernie Sanders primary against Hillary Clinton, there are some accusations about the elections. Then we have this hanging votes, hanging chats in where the election result was decided by the Supreme Court. There was no the counting of the votes were abruptly disturbed by the Supreme Court, which I think that is with regard to Al Gore, right? So, first thing, if you want to have in America, you want to have elections, then you have to have ID. Without the ID, you can't have elections. And there is always this accusation of voter irregularities, and you will always have sour milk. The losing side will always, even if Thomas Massie doesn't speak about election irregularities, other people comment on that. Right? Other people say that this result cannot be accepted. So I think if America wants to have proper elections, in our country also we had this problem. We always had this irregular voting. After many attempts, we have forced people to bring a ID. If you don't have ID, you can't vote. Right? Then now, in Sri Lanka, they hardly accuse people of malpractices regarding elections. So, if America wants to establish certain minimum standards, then you can't have this. Even this Trump thing, 2020 elections, in the midnight, you had enormous amounts of votes coming, mail-in votes or whatever it is. So, this is it. You always accuse people of cheating, even if the candidates did, other people make comments on that. So I think it is a negative thing for the American system to have elections without the ID. There must be a way of identifying the person. Right? That's something I want to say. Now, if you listen to Thomas Massie, his speech was more like a victory speech, and the winner was kind of humiliated in the speech. So I think my gut feeling is that I thought he will come as an independent. I think the election law in this state, you can't come as independent when you lose. So Maybe he'll be the next president of America. Who knows? Okay? But I think this election, the amount of money spent, okay, you have to stop this bribery in elections. You have to allocate government money, and you can't have this super PACs and things like that. You can't take private money and do the election. I mean, it amounts to a kind of bribery. If you take money from, especially if you take money from foreign donors, then it sounds like high treason or whatever you call it. So that's the second thing I want to mention about it. So I think this election is there will be a blowback against foreign money coming to elections, and also mostly the Israeli money, but it is not exclusively Israeli money, because other countries also are involved in this. When it comes to elections, the other countries also make contributions. So I don't think it is fair to accuse, point fingers at the Israelis. So I think if America wants to have a more level field, you have to stop these super PACs, right? And you have to allocate money from the government to do elections, and there should be certain restrictions on it. So this election, Massie might have lost, but he has. If you take the people who are less than 55 years, or younger people, they voted with Massie, Bob Massie. So that means Republican Party has severe crisis in it. There is a division in the Republican Party, and in this election, there is a possibility that independent person might contest this seat, 4th district, and he might win, not the winner of this election. So there is something, this is my observation, and there is some severe amount of analysis of this election in the alternate space, not the mainstream media, and they say this, we can't accept, this is us. Okay? And they're looking at the old patterns and things like that. So it is a blemish, whether there was no fraud or not. Some people believe that the election has certain amount of irregularities, and they are question the results. Even if the candidate, even if Thomas Massie Bob Massie doesn't contest the election, other people contest. So it is negative for the American system, and it is more negative for Israel lobby. Okay? And if you look at why the older people voted against Massie, they believed what Donald Trump said. But if you take the younger people, they question what Donald Trump says. So you have some division in the Republican Party, and it's because of the economic conditions, because of the conditions of economic dislocations, the Republican Party is going to lose in the midterm elections, and Donald Trump knows it. Now, Donald Trump wanted to attack Iran, but he postponed it because he can't attack. If he attacks, there will be severe dislocation in the economic system. So, Donald Trump will be mostly restrained by economics when it comes to war with Iran, and immediate concern will be the bond market. Okay, so we touched upon two things, and with my understanding is with the Israel lobby, it's very difficult for you to win. Okay, so but if you look at Thomas Thomas's speech, it looks like more like a victory speech. He didn't look as if he had lost the election, and it was like one of those maybe some Mark Anthony speech or something to that effect. And it is going to hurt the Republican Party, one way or the other.